Welcome to this session of the VRARA Education Forum. We got very excited that today we got Jim Young from CHEST joining us, and I'm from a company called Lumeto. I'm going to tell you a bit about as well. We're going to dive right in because we only got 15 minutes here. So I'm going to start by asking Jim for you to introduce yourself, a bit about your role at CHEST.
Sure.
And also you can dive right into just kind of how you see immersive technologies being deployed in your field in the next, short term and medium and long term.
Excellent. Thank you, Raj. I really appreciate the welcome and our partnership, which I really I love. So I am Senior Vice President for Education and Chief Learning Officer at an organization called CHEST, also known as the American College of Chest Physicians in Chicago. And I came to CHEST about 2 years ago and have been charged with and bring a skill set around building executable growth strategies. So for us, what that means for a medical association is to double our revenue and triple our number of learners in 5 years. But really what growth is for us is impact. And for us, impact is how do we move the needle on patient outcomes. Let me tell you a brief little bit about CHEST, and then I'll get into just crystal balling it. So we're the global leader in the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of chest diseases. Over 20,000 members in the areas of pulmonary, critical care, and sleep medicine. And we're team-based, proudly team-based. So we span, as intermediaries to patient care, we span the entire healthcare enterprise and the healthcare team. And like I said, we're in growth mode. A big part of my role was building a strategy. And the first thing we learned with the pandemic was the strategy was right. It was relevant. And a big part of that is our partnership with Raja and his team at Lumeto. So we have a real long history of experiential applied hands-on learning. It's one of our differentiators. We believe it's our competitive advantage, but we also think it's not enough. And that's why I want to talk about the fulsome nature of our relationship today. We need to be ahead of the curve and continually invest and anticipate on the what's going on evolutionary in medicine, but also the rapidly changing needs of our clinicians. So I thought about, in the short term, how do we use immersive technologies like XR, VR, AR to extend our footprint. Really anchoring, you're going to hear this in the next few minutes, anchoring our practice, our learning in deliberate practice. Our doctors need ongoing learning. It's not, okay, I've learned that and I'm going to go and practice for the rest of my life. They need ongoing learning across the life cycle. Medium range using 3 years out, perhaps. Wider, more fluid adoption of XR, AR, VR technologies. International global footprint, growth, scale. And with Lumeto as our partner, we're really tackling head-on the interprofessional training conundrum. How do we work in teams across boundaries to solve problems about procedures, disease, but also how we communicate and make decisions. And then 5 years out, sorry if I'm going long here. It's part of the lifeblood of our clinical rhythms in medicine, of our physicians. We can measure the impact of learning and technology interventions. We're a clear leader in the space, and our investment is clearly linked to scale.
Fantastic, Jim. By the way, there's a little bit of a paper shuffle noise near your microphone there, so be a little careful about that. That's a fantastic overview to get us started. I'm going to briefly introduce myself and Lumeto, and then we're going to watch a short video of where our partnership with CHEST is currently stands, and then we'll talk a bit about where it's going, because I think it's it's a good analogy for the VR training and healthcare industry overall. So I'm Raja. I'm the CEO of Lumeto. Lumeto was named Darkslope last week. We actually renamed our company on Monday, and there was an announcement there. And we're a venture-backed company based here in Toronto. We're about 30 people. We've been incubated quietly inside of that other company, Dark Slope, for the last 18 months. A good chunk of which has been spent working with CHEST and developing our product, which is a product called Involve XR. We're obviously a later entrant to this whole VR training world. It's been around for 5-6 years. People have been building VR training content. We're taking a platform approach to it versus a content approach, really trying to build that sort of I guess, dream of the sandbox, allowing institutions like CHEST to basically build the content themselves very easily and to easily structure classes and training sessions and even assessment sessions, themselves and remotely with trainers and learners in different locations and that sort of dream. It's a big dream. It's complicated. I'm sure a lot of people listening know about a lot of the challenges there. We do have about 30 people have been working at it for about a better part of a year, and we are in beta phase now. But the best thing about our product, for sure, is that it's been built from the ground up, really side by side with CHEST and their expertise and their doctors and their trainers and their knowledge, decades of knowledge of how simulation training in healthcare really needs to work. So with that, I will show you a 2-minute video about, it's just sort of a sneak peek into the beta version of our platform.
My name is Ruchi, and I will be playing the role of a respiratory therapist. Joining me remotely from another city is my colleague Kartik, who will be playing the role of a nurse practitioner. So now we're putting on our VR headsets, and we'll see you in virtual reality. So welcome to the ICU room. I'm in VR with my colleague Kartik. And today we're going to be learning how to perform an intubation procedure. We're going to start the session and actually assess kind of what the state of the patient is. So on the trainer desktop app, we can actually open up the operator panel and press play on the scenario player widget to begin the simulation.
Patient's weight is 75 kilograms, injecting with 100 mils of ketamine.
To proceed in inserting the VL scope into the patient's airway, making sure I'm watching the monitor. And now I will be inserting the ETT inside the airway, and I believe it has gone into the trachea. And I'm going to start administering some breaths. Kartik, if you're able to visually confirm that the end tidal CO2 detector is changing color.
Yep, I can confirm.
Okay, great. And we'll call this a first-time intubation run a success. We can reset the scenario, change up roles, and run it all over again.
Great. So that is, a sneak peek into where we're at. We didn't really get to see a lot of the operator controls, but they can obviously control the sessions and the user management and all that. And the other thing we're doing is making the patient an intelligent sort of we call assisted intelligence, not AI type patient, where it's physiologically accurate, and when you give it certain drugs or do certain things, it responds in the correct way. And you saw the tools working there. So the idea is that it's a functional ICU where CHEST trainers and other partners and customers can do can kind of train what they want to train. So with that, Jim, why don't you tell us a bit about how you see this technology evolving and what really you see as the key hurdles we have to overcome to kind of get this deployed and people using it? Oh, you're on mute, Jim. Sorry.
Some inherent, thank you, Raja. Some inherent, from a design perspective, where the positives are regarding high impact training. And then I'll get into some of the barriers that we're experiencing. Number one, this is designed for layered learning. When we are really working hard with Lumeto to connect our subject matter experts to a development team, and to be thinking about individual learning, group learning across boundaries, procedural learning, how to apply procedural learning to situational learning around communication and decision making in the clinical, high-paced clinical space. So in and of itself, that's perfect for an XR environment. I already mentioned it before, but I want to mention it again. We have a training gap. And this is one of the key ways that we're going to fulfill that training gap. Not as a substitute, but as an extension of an entire portfolio of experiences and programs that we offer our clinician learners. So for us, that training gap is people need ongoing, repetitious, often deliberate practice in things that not only are fundamental, but also continue to evolve. Accessibility, portability, availability, ensuring that we can offer training globally in a team environment, expert-led by an expert best-in-field facilitator is vital. And that's what this solution holds great potential for. Maybe it goes without saying, increasing the number of learners, bringing down the training cost. We believe in the technology, and we think our approach together, this is really a fun, I don't want to call it a project anymore, but it's just been a fun experience because we think creatively and differently about market. And we also employ subject matter experts in new ways. We're basically united with Lumeto in the translation space. How do we translate science into action? In the short run, I guess our barriers are related to practical things, but those practical things are real. And it would be, how do we test, train, get faculty on board? How do we deliver hardware? How do we scale this meaningfully? And how do we measure for impact? I think that the fourth one there, measuring for impact, is so embedded here, and that really fits our culture. The first three, I think, are more practical hurdles that I think we're on because we have a really sound testing protocol working with Lumeto and our subject matter experts. And we're going to solve those, all four of those challenges.